There's a conspiracy theory that's going viral on Football Manager stuff all over the place. And it's this Reddit post talking about how the attributes are not as valuable as they probably should be. So let's read it. We all know how important attributes are in FM, but just how important. I decided to isolate FM24's 9 most meta attributes, which would be pace, acceleration, jumping rate, strength, balance, agility, anticipation, concentration, and dribbling. I wanted to see just how relevant or irrelevant non-meta attributes are. So here's the test. I tested with Man City twice. I adjusted every player to have identical attributes of the following, with 9 meta attributes all at 10 out of 20, and every other attribute at 20 out of 20. This will give each player approximately 180 to 190 CA, which would be enough to walk the Premier League. And then 9 meta attributes all at 20 out of 20, with almost every other attribute at 1 out of 20. This gives each player approximately 80 to 90 CA, which is about Vanarama National League level. The big takeaway, and the reason this has gone viral in the Football Manager space, is the non-meta team full of 180 to 190 CA players got relegated, only achieving 14 points. So that is a huge, like, super duper surprising result right there, that they only got 14 points. The meta team full of 80 to 90 CA players, they finished second. So the team that had 20 in the 9 meta attributes and 1 in literally every other attribute finished second. Okay, we're going to test this because I think I know what was going on. I think they didn't have the detail level on. So we're going to set up the same test because that's what we do. So we did 10 and you just do like, oh yeah, dude, for the meta test, he set it to 1. Oops. So, like, no human being on the planet has the ability to run the speed of a world-class sprinter while also having the most strength. Like, so this is already inherently a really bizarre test in terms of, like I could actually see this test being true because there is simply no way to stop this player because they can run through everybody. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. They can run by everybody. Force him to pass. You can't. You cannot force this guy to pass. Every set piece is your worst nightmare because jumping reach is 20 and strength is 20. So even if they have one heading, they're going to be winning every single header. All right, and then you want to freeze attributes. And then we want to export the attribute template. Meta test 1. So we'll do that attribute template on Jolmatip. Import attribute template. And we just import it and it's there. So that's how you set these sorts of tests up. And then we'll be fine. So it'll take like maybe 5 minutes to set this up.
5 minutes later.
Yeah, I just forgot how to add a transfer embargo. Okay, we zeroed out their transfer budget. So I feel like we don't really need to test anything else if this gives us very different results. So let's just go. We've got the team set up. Let's just go. The test guy did not have stamina, natural fitness, and work rate on 1. Then he lied. What? What do you mean? He said he put almost every other attribute at 1 out of 20. I'm gonna be honest, chat. 3 of those 4 are some of the most key attributes to have on 1 in this experiment. What is this test? Because we just did the actual test with those 9 attributes on 20 and every other attribute on 1, and it's January, and Liverpool have 10 points. So what everybody thinks happened based off this post because of the Herculean, the absolute Atlas holding up the world nonsense that the world almost is doing in this post. The entire thing hangs on that word. Because the test that everybody thinks this guy just did, because like me, they didn't read that word. Like, I can't read. How am I supposed to see that? Right? Because the entire rest of this post is making it sound like it's the test that we just did, where every other attribute's on 1 and Liverpool sucks. So now half the internet thinks that this is true because of the almost. All right, let's get the rest of this simmed though. So this is the simulation that is the actual test. And it is very clear, at least in January and probably by the end of the season, that the actual test is nowhere near the result that everybody thought was being gotten here. But we are going to go back and run the test that they did just to see the difference. Nowhere near is a bit harsh. I mean, in the test they did, where they had the word almost in there, this team allegedly finished second with 84 points and lost 4 matches. Right now, at the end of April, we'll see when it pops up over here. We're nowhere near that. Liverpool is already relegated after 35 matches with 22 points. So it is very, very, very safe to say that the match engine is not that simple. simplistic. We're going to go back and do the test again, but we're going to do it the way that this person set it up, where they did account for stamina, work rate, natural fitness, and determination. They gave them 13 at everything, right? I want to be very clear. Most people thought this is the test that was being done, and the team only has 24 points. So Premier League should be over. The final unveiling. Holy cheddar, 24 points. In the other simulation, they had 4 losses. In this simulation, they only had 5 wins with a minus 45 goal difference. So we're going to go to Liverpool. This is the first point of the sim. So what we need to do, annoyingly, is we need to go through and we need to fix this. So they had 13. So we already have attributes frozen. We just need to execute meta test, but real. So that's the template that's been exported. And those are the attributes that this person actually used. So the test that everybody thought was being done, we just did. Liverpool finished in 19th and was not good. We will see if stamina and determination and work rate, which I would consider very important, actually make some sort of difference. Which the irony is, if this test does a lot better, we actually disprove the original premise that it's just the 9 attributes that were listed that were actually important. So no matter what happens, we've essentially already disproved the premise, which is actually kind of hilarious. Because if this test does much better, then we're sitting here like, oh, it was just the stamina, the determination, the work rate.
A little later.
So now we're going to do the actual test. This is the actual test that the person on Reddit claimed to have done. Awesome. Let's go to January 1st, shall we? So they have 3 wins from 3 right now. We went from 1 to 13 on stamina, work rate, determination, and natural fitness. And those are apparently the 4 most important attributes in the game. Because we have gone from 10 points in January to 12 points in September. We found the real secret, dude. The test that most people thought that had been done was not the actual test, but this test is still incredibly interesting. Because as much as the post felt misleading, it appears that the test they conducted was entirely accurate. So the conspiracy theory that just those 9 attributes are all that the match engine factors in is wrong. But if you are very good at those attributes and have other attributes that allow you to use them, I mean, those attributes are very good. Now, what you need to understand is the takeaway from this, given the information we know now about how they set it up, is that attributes are complementary, chat. And if you happen to have an absolute freak like this, then yeah, they're gonna be amazing. But no player like this exists in real life, let alone a team of players like this. Oh yeah, this means you should over-index on the physicals, but that was our, like, I don't know if there's any new, knowledge being acquired by doing this. Like, everybody already knew physicals were the most important thing in the game. It's just a question of how important they are. I think it was so important to see the difference between having stamina, work rate, determination, and natural fitness on 1 and 13. I think us doing that was actually so important because that really, really demonstrates that it's not just those 9 attributes. All right, so Liverpool won the league, dude. So the test this person actually did was set up right. Just misrepresented the hell out of what they were actually doing. Well, I think the difference between the 2 tests we just did was really, really significant, right? What? They signed players and broke the test? Who'd they sign? Yeah, I hate this game sometimes, man. Transfer embargo. All right, now we should be able to friggin' do this. Okay, so I want to redo the first test. Just to be entirely clear of what we have. Joe Gomez, we're gonna import meta test 1 on each and every player, which takes just a few minutes, lads.
A few minutes later.
3rd time's a charm, baby. We got it all ready now. Okay, so with just those 9 attributes, the final result is Liverpool gets 29 points and finishes bottom of the league table. Now let's load up the save file at the beginning, which will be August 7th, and we're going to import the other information.
Moments later.
Okay, the actual test is set up. Let's ride. I don't imagine a ton will change. I expect our results to be what we got last time, which is the team's very good now.
More moments later.
So the results of the second simulation, once again, we're replicating the same results. The transfer embargo wasn't actually that important. And we'll go ahead and get a final league table. Can I roll? Oh, I love that. We're going to run the exact same test, but we're going to set, that is awesome idea, dude. We're gonna set dribbling to 1. I think that will actually make a pretty big difference because it, like, we were speaking of just complementary attributes, you know? I think if we set dribbling to 1, we're like on a roll. So the results are in. The results are pretty clear that the test the actual Redditor did was done right. They had the detail level on. They had attributes frozen. Everything was fairly balanced. We are getting the same results that they got. The issue now is the actual importance of those 9 attributes and how functional the Football Manager match engine is in between there. But it is very clear that the test they actually did was done right. The test that we thought they did produces very different results. And now what I want to do is load this up and literally just put 1 on dribbling. I think that's a tremendous idea. I think it might potentially highlight how complementary FM attributes actually are. I think we're going to find something very interesting with this no dribble. Okay, so we have that. Now we just need to go to the other players and import that. If this team wins the league, we're going to start to have some uncomfortable conversations, all right? Okay, they lost their first 2 matches. Oh, faith in Football Manager restored. Oh, they lost their first 2 matches. Oh, they only winning the league again with just the physical and mental boost. It's because they added dribbling in there. This test proves nothing. No, I think this test relative to the other test proves a good bit. It proves that the attributes are complementary. I mean, they're clearly worse. But they're not. They're closer to... let's just get to the end of the season. We'll get a point total. They're closer to where they were with 20 dribbling than where they were without. Well, I guess that makes sense because it's 4 attributes versus 1. But 1 at every technical attribute, you're okay. So they finished in 6th, but they finished with 25 less points with 1 dribbling. So we finished the simulation with 1 for dribbling instead of 20, and all the attributes were the same as the original test except for that dribbling, and Liverpool finished 25 points worse. They won the league with all those original attributes, and they ended on 70 points in this simulation. So it wasn't exactly as low as I might have expected, but it still made a big difference, removing that incredibly important technical attribute. It made the team far less dominant. It is interesting, though, with the work rate, the stamina, the natural fitness, and the determination, the team is much closer to the top than, obviously, if you remove those 4 and keep the dribbling in, the team is terrible. Meaning that those 4 attributes are clearly quite important. All right, now we gotta go back to the beginning. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Because my attribute passing keeps getting disrespected, I'm gonna change dribbling to passing. I'm so curious. I'm just gonna change dribbling to passing. So what I want to come in here and do is I want to add 20 passing and see if we, what if we, dude, let's just change this. Let's just go for a full change. What if we just added 20 composure, 20 decisions? Because I consider those to be very important mental attributes as well. And 20 passing. We just get to pick the stuff. Let's just pick that. The point of this test would be proving that as long as you have a physical freak and a couple of other freaky attributes that you can utilize, right? The composure and decision-making of Busquets, the passing of Kevin De Bruyne, and then you add it on to the unbelievable physical freak that we have. Okay, so we're gonna take natural fitness off. This is just a test for fun to just prove a point. And we'll put vision on 13, as that's a complementary attribute. We'll put natural fitness at 1. So that's what we've done. We're gonna export this as finale. So we just go to everybody else. We'll bring this in real quick. Okay, import. I expect and would be surprised if it didn't happen if this team was not very good. This team should be absolutely disgusting. Or we're gonna isolate the fact that maybe concentration and anticipation are way more important than composure and decision making, which I would not have agreed with before this experiment. So it's all about learning. The pursuit of knowledge, my good man.
Eventually.
All right, passing instead. Very curious to see how this goes. So we're going with basically the original setup, but at passing, vision instead of natural fitness. Let's see what the results are coming in as. Actually, you know what we're about to accidentally prove? that it's not just the physical attributes, because every physical attribute, including stamina, work rate, and determination, is all there and set. Only physical attribute we touched was natural fitness, and look, it's not just physical attributes. Liverpool is in 12th. The takeaway from this is complex. Obviously, with the right combination of a few great attributes, that might be my biggest takeaway, because I don't really care about the current ability to playing ability thing. I don't really look at current ability unless I'm making a video, whatever. But that if you have the right combination of a few attributes, particularly like physical attributes and dribbling, that player can be insanely good. You do not have to have a lot of decent attributes to be a great player in Football Manager. You just have to have a few complementary attributes that are very good. I think the reason this took off so much and the reason we've sat here testing it is because people were bothered by the idea that you could have one and so many technical attributes and win the Premier League. I think at the core of it, that is the problem people had with this. But I think it's very important to remember that as fun as it is to test this sort of stuff in Football Manager, players like this don't actually exist. And when you logically think about what the attributes are actually saying in terms of the crazy physical ability and dribbling and the intelligence that they've been given, that it's not as broken as it may seem, although it is interesting. So Liverpool finished in 11th with the adjusted attributes we just dropped. And I would call, unless we can think of anything else, I would call our research on the topic complete. But essentially, the test did not prove that the match engine is inherently broken. The way the test was advertised when we tested it, Liverpool got relegated, so you clearly need attributes outside of those 9 to be successful. The way they ran the test while adding in some attributes that allowed the team to take advantage of its incredible athleticism and dribbling and certain aspects of its intelligence was surprising. I wouldn't have thought that team was going to win the league. The more you think about it, it's not like a massive surprise. Removing dribbling from the equation, which is one of the key complementary attributes, even with the stamina and everything still there, the team was still significantly worse, 25 points worse in the season. I don't think that we've proven anything crazy other than the fact that if somebody has really good physical attributes and they have a few different attributes that allow them to take advantage of it, you should probably give that player the time of day, whether it be a center back, whether it be a winger. That is somebody that you should probably include in your team, or at least think about more than you would have in the past. You don't have to be a balanced player to be good in Football Manager. And I think in terms of behind the scenes takeaway, the fact that current ability is not really tethered to the actual ability of the player on the field in a serious way, at least when you're breaking players to this extent, that was surprising to me. But that's basically it.